Knee ligamentoplasty is a common orthopedic procedure that requires optimal surgical conditions to achieve accurate graft placement and successful reconstruction. In this context, periarticular vasoconstrictor infiltration has emerged as a useful adjunct technique for reducing intraoperative bleeding and enhancing visualization within the operative field. Furthermore, avoiding tourniquet use may be a fundamental step toward improving postoperative outcomes, including better pain control, lower risk of infection, and faster functional recovery. In this presentation, I will discuss the rationale, potential advantages, and practical considerations of periarticular vasoconstrictor infiltration in knee ligamentoplasty surgery. The cruciate ligaments are two strong intra-articular ligaments of the knee, the anterior cruciate ligament and the posterior cruciate ligament. They cross each other in the center of the joint and connect the femur to the tibia. Their main function is to stabilize the knee by controlling anterior and posterior tibial translation, as well as rotational movements. A cruciate ligament injury is a tear or rupture of the anterior or posterior cruciate ligament of the knee that compromises joint stability and function. It usually occurs after trauma, twisting, or sports-related stress. The incidence of cruciate ligament injuries varies according to the ligament involved, age, sex, and sports exposure. Anterior cruciate ligament tears are far more common, with an annual incidence of approximately 68.6 per 100,000 person-years in the general population, whereas isolated complete posterior cruciate ligament tears are much less frequent, with an annual incidence of about 1.8 per 100,000 person-years. Only in the United States, more than 100,000 to 200,000 reconstructions are performed annually, with a growing trend in Europe and Asia driven by the increasing professionalization of amateur sports. Worldwide, approximately 500,000 ACL reconstructions have been estimated to be performed annually, although precise current global figures remain uncertain. The annual cost associated with these surgeries and their rehabilitation exceeds billions of euros worldwide. Despite successful surgery, approximately 50% of patients will develop post-traumatic osteoarthritis within 10 to 15 years, and only 65% of patients return to their previous competitive level, highlighting the importance of optimizing every step of the process, including anesthesia and pain management. A tourniquet is a device used to temporarily interrupt blood flow to a limb during a surgical procedure in order to create a bloodless surgical field. This situation allows the surgeon to work in a bloodless field, but at the same time, it subjects the distal tissues to a period of ischemia. As a consequence of this transient lack of oxygen, tissue hypoxia, local metabolic acidosis, and the accumulation of free radicals, potassium, lactate, and other products of anaerobic metabolism develop. When the tourniquet is released, these metabolites re-enter the systemic circulation, giving rise to the reperfusion phenomenon, which may be associated with hemodynamic and metabolic alterations, whose magnitude depends, among other factors, on the duration of ischemia and the patient's baseline condition. By avoiding the use of a tourniquet, tumescent techniques allow a certain degree of distal perfusion to be maintained. Pharmacologically induced vasoconstriction does not completely abolish blood flow, but rather reduces it in a controlled manner, creating a low-flow state that provides a surgical field with minimal bleeding without totally compromising tissue oxygenation. Based on the conceptual combination of local infiltration analgesia, LIA, and tumescent anesthesia, periarticular vasoconstrictor infiltration was first described in 2022. It aims to anticipate the surgical act through a more precise and controlled infiltration technique, capable of optimizing both analgesic and hemostatic conditions from the very beginning of the procedure. PVI seeks to provide prolonged analgesia without motor block and a sufficient degree of local ischemia to avoid the use of a tourniquet, while also increasing technical safety through the use of ultrasound guidance. In this way, ultrasound not only improves the accuracy of distribution of the infiltrated solution, but also enhances control over the anatomical structures involved, promoting a more rational, reproducible, and safer application of the technique. Given the high variability of this surgery, both in terms of the surgical approach and the graft harvest sites, it is advisable to ask the surgeon to mark the planned surgical strategy on the knee, including the arthroscopic portals and the incisions intended for graft harvesting. We will begin with the initial injections at the level of the genicular nerves, starting with the superolateral genicular nerve. Once the transducer is positioned over the lateral aspect of the distal femoral metaphyseal-diaphyseal junction, 20 milliliters of the solution will be infiltrated upon contact with the periosteum using an out-of-plane approach, allowing a more efficient execution of the procedure. Next, infiltration of the supramedial genicular nerve will be performed by placing the transducer over the medial aspect of the distal femoral metaphyseal-diaphyseal junction. As in the previous approach, the infiltration will be carried out using an out-of-plane technique, depositing 20 milliliters of the diluted solution. Subsequently, the inframedial genicular nerve will be approached. With the transducer placed over the medial aspect of the proximal tibial metaphyseal-diaphyseal junction, 20 milliliters of the diluted solution will be administered using an out-of-plane puncture once the periosteum has been reached. For infiltration of the posterior capsule, an IPAC-type approach is used, a well-known technique that has been widely incorporated into routine clinical practice. Using this approach, 20 milliliters of the solution is again administered into the space between the popliteal artery and the posterior articular capsule to provide effective analgesic coverage and vasoconstriction of the posterior region of the knee while minimizing the impact on motor function. Without ultrasound guidance, infiltration of the lateral arthroscopic portal will then be performed, as this is the access point through which the surgeon will enter the joint, administering 5 milliliters of the diluted solution. Similarly, the medial entry point will be infiltrated with 5 milliliters of the diluted solution. In the same way, through either portal, medial, or lateral, a complementary intra-articular infiltration may be performed with an additional 10 milliliters of the mixture. Up to this point, nothing appears to differ from what has already been described in classic PVI. For infiltration of the graft, in this case the semitendinosus tendon, the transducer will be placed in an axial plane, identifying the semitendinosus tendon on a transverse view. A peritendinous infiltration will then be performed, similar to that used in perineural blocks, observing adequate distribution of the solution around the tendon until the characteristic circumferential donut image is obtained. Once this pattern has been achieved, the transducer will be rotated into a coronal plane to obtain a longitudinal view of the tendon, allowing hydrodissection to be continued in a cephalad direction, both in the superficial and deep planes. If the graft is harvested from a different site, the infiltration will be performed similarly. It is not uncommon for graft harvesting to be associated with additional surgical maneuvers aimed at optimizing reconstruction stability, such as anterolateral reinforcement using an extra-articular iliotibial band graft, according to the Lemaire technique or a modified version. The tendinous or fascial structures used in this type of reinforcement can be identified relatively easily by ultrasound, and their infiltration is technically feasible provided that the relevant anatomical and sonographic landmarks are well understood. Although the results obtained with this technique in knee arthroplasty are particularly striking, those observed when this strategy is applied in arthroscopic surgery are no less relevant. In order to optimize the vasoconstrictive effect, we add 1 milligram of epinephrine to each 3-liter bag of arthroscopic irrigation fluid, which helps maintain a virtually bloodless surgical field during intra-articular maneuvers. Prior infiltration of the graft harvest sites allows accurate dissection of the surgical planes with minimal bleeding. By improving local hemostasis and preserving visualization of the anatomical layers, this approach may facilitate graft harvesting and optimize surgical conditions. As can be seen in the image, The intra-articular arthroscopic view does not differ significantly from that obtained with the use of a tourniquet, allowing joint debridement, creation of the bony tunnels, and graft insertion to be performed without bleeding, compromising the quality of surgical visualization. The patient is able to activate the quadriceps early, already in the immediate post-operative period, and to maintain this ability over the following days. Although the definitive benefits of this technique remain to be established, its minimal impact on muscle function supports the hypothesis that it may promote a faster and more efficient functional recovery in this group of patients. Periarticular vasoconstrictor infiltration appears to be a promising adjunct in anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction surgery. Although early ambulation is not the main priority in this setting, the possibility of avoiding tourniquet use, preserving early quadriceps activation, improving post-operative pain control, and minimizing systemic impact may represent important advantages in perioperative management. Taken together, these factors could contribute to a faster recovery, earlier functional rehabilitation, and ultimately better post-operative outcomes. Although further studies are still needed to define its definitive role, PVI may offer a valuable strategy for optimizing both surgical conditions and patient recovery in ligament reconstructive surgery.